A quick disclaimer before we begin. Everything discussed in this episode reflects our personal opinions and experiences as educators. Always use your professional judgment and follow your organization's policies when evaluating and using AI tools. Welcome to Classroom to Code. I'm Nadia.
And I'm Noni.
We are two teacher moms in two different countries who somehow found ourselves building apps, learning AI, joining a Replit Build-a-thon, and realizing that maybe we were never as far from tech as we thought.
Because before we ever called ourselves builders, we were teachers. We were already adapting, troubleshooting, differentiating, testing, fixing, and trying again.
This podcast is about what happens when teachers stop waiting for someone else to build the thing that they need and start asking, can I make this myself?
We'll talk about the messy parts, the scary parts, and the what am I even doing parts. And the moments where something finally works and you think, wait, I actually built that?
We'll talk about AI literacy, education, app building, design mistakes, accidental wins, motherhood, and what it really looks like to go from an idea in your head to something real.
And if you're listening and thinking, I'm not technical enough, I'm too late, or people like me don't build things like this, then honestly, this is the show for you.
Because we thought that too.
And we were wrong. Welcome to Classroom to Code with me, Noni, and Nadia. Today we're going to have a look at how our different expertise shape everything we build. We're very similar in a lot of things, but we also have our differences, and we put them together and we build our different kinds of apps.
Yeah, I think this is a really important episode for us because a lot of people just kind of know us as Nadia and Noni, two teachers. And we talk a lot about being two teacher moms, and it's uncanny that we have so much in common, but there's actually quite a bit of difference also with us. And I think it's important that we talk about the lens that we bring to the things that we create. So today we're going to get into our backgrounds. We have different background stories, different expertise, the things that we have in common, the things that we don't have in common, and why our collaboration and any collaboration with someone who is different than you would make things better. And then we'll go into our live demo and work on that app that we've been creating for the last couple episodes of this podcast.
Yeah, I think it's also important to think about when you collaborate with someone, don't focus on what is different. As you collaborate and work with someone, you kind of figure that out yourselves, and putting those differences together can really make a huge difference. I'm more about design. I like to think about how something is used, the interface, how it looks, how it feels. I'm in the classroom all the time. So for me, it's really important about knowing how people learn, not just children, but people. The different ways that we learn, scattering, like scaffolding things for things to be understood. I'm in primary education, so I focus on more of the younger learners as well, which I think is really great because then you really have to break things down for the younger ones, which makes it perfect for learning for anyone. And then also social emotional learning, so designing for kids how they feel, not just what they do. I think that's really important. Yeah, what about you, Nadia?
Well, I just think there's so much to talk about with your lens as like value that is added for building because even on this list, like 10 different ideas came to mind. You talked about UI, UX design, the look and feel. How many times have you seen a product and it's just not, it doesn't look good, or the colors are weird, or it's hard to navigate? That is
Mm-hmm.
enough. That becomes a barrier to adoption. And like I think that people sometimes think a great idea is, what makes you successful, but there's so much more to it than a great idea. And
Mm-hmm.
design is something, especially with vibe coding, right? Like I think big companies know this, but I think when you're a solo founder or you're part of a small team, it's easy to underestimate the impact of design. It's worth noting, Noni, that you also told me that you have a fashion background. So
Mm-hmm.
you've got that eye for design naturally, perhaps, and you've learned best practice across different fields of design.
Yeah, and then I went into graphic design as well. So
Oh
it's always
yeah.
been something that I like to do. Yeah, but like you said, there's so many things. I like what you said about how the idea behind an app can be great, and what it does for someone, it can be great. But sometimes people don't go ahead and use those because it just doesn't look or feel right to them. So I think that's really important, those two things to go together. Like you've got more of that research background, so putting that together with the correct kind of interface that people actually want to interact with is so important. There's so many children's apps that I've had a look at, and they don't engage with them because they're either too cluttery or they just don't feel engaging enough for children to actually want to be on them. No, I'm not talking about games. Games children love, they're colorful and everything, but I'm talking about more learning apps as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's just fascinating because you can, again, I said it before, you can have the best idea, but if the execution and the design is not good, that is make or break
Mm-hmm.
for your idea. And you have to pivot quickly and improve your design. And I think in a time right now where design is so AI centered, and Noni and I are not against AI at all, quite the opposite, but we are critical of some of the outputs. And I can speak for myself when I
Mm-hmm.
say, like, when I see an AI generated image, many times I've seen things that are just so cluttered. And you think
Yeah.
about how that impacts the brain and how that makes you feel, right? It's a little bit chaotic. And AI hasn't necessarily figured that out. You have to direct it to create what you
Mm-hmm.
want it to create, the way you want it to look. Another thing about your background is, yeah, you talked about pedagogy. Like, I think sometimes people don't understand, especially in academic spheres, that teaching itself is a skill and an art. And there's this common misconception that if you know something, you can teach it. And that is
Mm-hmm.
not true. And I've seen that
Yeah.
problem again and again and again in education, like in university. And so I mean, I've done a ton of school and I have seen some of the best and brightest minds, but just because they understand it doesn't mean they know how to break it down and scaffold it
Yes.
to teach it.
Exactly.
One of the hardest classes for me was an audiology course, which is funny when you consider what I do now. I do all that stuff every day. But I struggled, and I remember having a realization as an undergraduate that this professor doesn't care if I learn it or not. He only cares that he
Mm.
sounds smart and he cares about his research. And
Yeah.
that it was a big moment for me. I eventually, I went more the education track than the therapy track that I was going down, speech therapy. It made me realize that learning to teach is important if you're going to teach. And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't recognize that. There's a lot of misconceptions around what teaching is. They think if you know, you're a teacher. And it's like, no, there's best practice, there's theory, there's research, there's a way to do it, there's a way that's more effective, there's a way that reaches more learners.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then
Yeah, I completely agree with that. When somebody knows a subject and they have all the knowledge about it, they don't realize that when they're explaining it to someone else, they don't realize that people don't know, may not know those terms.
yeah,
They may not know um, the reasoning behind something. So, with us being teachers, we know how to explain. I think I don't know about you, but I we have to teach every subject in primary school. So we automatically just know how to break things down and explain the reasoning behind some things instead of using difficult vocabulary without anyone having the understanding of it. I think it's like really important not to throw those terms and especially in tech, those terminologies, throwing those words around, knowing that some people may not know those words. Like when we started in this in Replit, we didn't know so many technical terms. We had to learn them ourselves, and the way we were being taught was well, the things that I was seeing online, learning from other people. Um, I didn't know what they were talking about. I had to go and Google or ask ChatGPT, what does this mean?
right.
So yeah, when someone has knowledge about something, they have to remember that not everybody knows what that means.
So I've seen a lot of situations where people will use jargon or like highly technical terms to sound smarter.
Yep.
Perhaps, and I don't know their motivation, or maybe they're just so far removed from where they were before they need these things that they don't realize it's not common knowledge. I don't know. But I think that it's quite the opposite, that a sign of intelligence, and this kind of goes into your primary education background, a sign of intelligence is being able to break down complex things into
Yep.
digestible parts, right? So like
Hmm.
with your primary education background, like I know we just kind of glossed over it, but I don't want to because you being in the classroom every single day means, I remember reading something crazy about how many decisions a teacher makes every day. It's like,
Yes, I read that too. And it's so
yeah.
true. It's like 100 decisions in a few seconds. It's very true.
And then, we're not just, we deal with the whole child, right? So you're responsible for teaching every subject. But then think about the needs. Every mind in your classroom is different. How many students do you have in your
Hmm.
classroom?
We're 25. It goes up to 30, but at the current situation, we have 25.
Yeah, and then not just that, you have a teacher's assistant too, right? A teacher's
Hmm.
aide who
Yeah.
you're responsible still for designing the instruction. You teach that person to assist you,
Yeah.
right? So you are a manager. And so there's
Hmm.
leadership with that and leadership with learners who are not necessarily motivated to learn, right? They're there because they have to be. Um,
Hmm.
and that's what
So we're motivating to learn and then teaching as well.
yes. And so when you teach in a classroom, and I've taught university level and I've taught pre-K. I've done all of that. I will
Hmm.
tell you, university level, you're kind of getting the cream of the crop when it comes to the kind of students that you have. And then it kind of, I like the motivation that your students have. So, and it kind of declines as you go down, and every student is valuable. Every student is awesome, but their motivation to learn is very different depending on
Hmm.
where they are and how they got there. So I would say it's really important to understand that primary educators, it's horrible to have that undervalued because it is like you need managerial skills, you need communication skills, you need design skills, you need
Hmm.
empathy, right? Like the
Yeah.
amount of patience that it takes to be in the
Uh-huh.
classroom.
You
And this,
also need to be a parent and a doctor, a nurse all the
oh
time.
yeah. How
There's
many
so
times
many
have you had
jobs
to be a
in one.
nurse? Yeah,
So
there's,
many times.
oh my
Countless.
goodness, a therapist type of situation. I've,
Yeah.
like the things that we've seen. And that goes into the social emotional learning, right? Like that's such a
Yeah.
big topic of conversation and for good reason when it comes to education. So I don't want to undersell the value of, how much you know as somebody with a design and education background. I think that's really important.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So a little bit about my background. I'm all revved up about yours, and I'm like, okay, let's see. Okay, so oops. All right, so I have a research background, but I'm going to go into a little bit about my story. So I was originally going to be a speech therapist, because I love languages. I'm a huge, huge fan of languages. I like learning them. I like, you know, speaking different languages. I feel like the languages open up a whole world for you. So that's how I got into this, because my father wanted me to be a doctor and I didn't want to be a doctor, and I didn't want to be a nurse, and I didn't want to do anything in medicine, but speech therapy was kind of that overlap between communication language and medicine,
Yeah.
and yeah, and he approved that for me pretty much. It's job security. So I started studying speech therapy when I was at the University of Illinois. I took a class in American Sign Language, and I was like, this is really cool. I learned about deaf culture. I was like, cool. But as a non-deaf person, I was kind of scared because I was like, I don't think that I would be accepted into that community,
Hmm.
especially if my sign isn't that good. What happened then is I moved to Saudi Arabia after undergrad because I wanted to see the world and I wasn't sure about doing my master's. In the US, you need a master's to be a speech therapist. And
Okay.
I decided I was like, I'm going to go teach English. So I did a course. Actually, it was through University of Cambridge,
Hmm.
to become a certified English language teacher for adults. I got a job in Saudi. I went there and I taught for a year. When I was there, I went as an English teacher. About 2 weeks in, they told me they have a class of 20 deaf women. So women all the way from age like 18 to 56,
Yeah.
the student. And they said, can
Wow.
you teach them English literacy? And I was like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh. I was like, every sign language is different in the world, right? It's
Yeah.
regional. And then like I was 22 years old, I think, when I went. So I was young, but of course a little bit crazy. So I said yes, because even though I don't think I was at the time qualified to do what I was enlisted to do, I knew I could learn as I went.
So did you know how to sign the American Sign Language at the time?
Yes and no.
Kind of.
Yeah, I did like I did one and two, ASL one and two, so like I could do very basic
Mm.
conversational. No, not yet. Became conversational
Okay.
later. But they don't even use American Sign Language. They use Arabic Sign Language and Saudi Arabic
Mm.
Sign Language.
Oh,
And
completely
so
different then.
yeah, so they gave me a teacher's aide who became one of my close friends who had no formal training in English, but she knew Arabic and she had deaf parents. And so she could translate from the Arabic language to
The
Arabic
Arabic
sign
sign.
language.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you mean. So when you say teacher's aide, you mean like a teaching assistant?
Yeah, she's an interpreter, but there was a lot of gray lines crossed. I know in the States we're very careful about, what your scope is, scope of
Mm-hmm.
practice, but we were just doing whatever we could. But I had basically, long story short, I had a very fun, successful year in
Mm-hmm.
Saudi. I was engaged at the time and I had promised my husband that I was going to come back to the US. And so despite getting, my visa to live there and all those things, I came back, I went to New York and I studied. I went for my master's degrees. I got into a dual master's program at Columbia University, and I did deaf education and elementary inclusive education. And
Mm-hmm.
so the reason I did that was because it's almost like, when you run an experiment, you want the control group and then you want the experiment group. And I wanted to compare and contrast what is the difference between being a primary school teacher and what is, a deaf educator. Once you
Yeah.
are part of the deaf community, you you just love it. It opens up a different world for you.
Yeah.
And it also is such a visual language. And I didn't draw that
Mm-hmm.
connection at the time that visuals were a big part of it for me. Like I just
Oh yeah.
I struggle a little bit with auditory processing. And so being able to see the language communicated was really, really cool for me. But yes,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got into all these things that I do. I am um, a researcher. I finished my doctorate in educational technology and psychology in January. And my big thing is understanding what we can do with educational technology to help teachers stay in the field and to make things
Yes.
accessible. Um,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's
yeah.
so important for educators to be able to understand what new technology can do, especially with AI. And
Yeah.
when you talk about visuals, I'm just going to go back to when you were saying about how important it is. Going back to being in primary school, the school that I'm in has a huge amount of EAL children. So that means I'm not sure if that's what you call it over there, but it means English as additional language.
Okay. We say
Um,
ESL or
ESL.
yeah, ELL
Yeah.
also I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
English
Well,
language.
there it's a huge amount of children who cannot speak English, so they rely on visuals, complete visuals. When I say visuals, I mean pictures or hand gestures. So it really works. It's like it was just linking it back to what you said about um understanding how important that is, the visuals. I know deaf community is completely different, but then it's so important for the EAL children as well when they speak in a whole other language that they have no idea what you're saying, even the basic words, even hi, they don't understand those basic kind of words. So visuals are so, so important.
Oh yeah, it's so important that we think about access not just as like a fringe thing. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of times what I've seen is people be like, "Oh, accessibility," and they'll put on like voiceover or captions. And so many times I've seen people be like, for a deaf child who can't read, say, "Oh, but this has captions." I'm like, "He can't read."
It's not gonna help.
Yeah, like,
It's
so
not
why do
gonna
you have
help.
like, I mean, it's great that you have captions, but like, why do you think that that's going to help this child? Every kid is
Yeah.
different. And so that's like the second thing. I'm very into research and I studied burnout of teachers and everything I think in my head turns into a research study. Like I'm potentially designed
Mm-hmm.
to study all the time. But my big research was on how do we get teachers, especially highly specialized teachers, highly qualified teachers, to stay in the field and use ed tech as the source of relief instead of like an additional
Mm-hmm.
burden. Um,
Yeah.
for accessibility, I am a big believer in you have to design for accessibility from the start. Don't just tack it on at the end. Like again, we added
Absolutely.
captions. Um, when you design for the margins, you get everybody in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like if you could take one thing from anything I say, that's it.
Yeah,
Make
that's
it
brilliant.
accessible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And then of course, my heart is with special education and deaf education. I've again and again been floored by what students are capable of when they're given access. And this is also true for teachers. This is true for, I also like, with deaf education, I also being a teacher in a school for the deaf, I some of my best and brightest colleagues themselves were deaf, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
world doesn't recognize still the brilliance that they're not accessing when they, ignore the sign language piece of it or ignore, the access piece of it. So
Yeah, I mean, even in primary schools, again and again, if a lesson isn't a lesson isn't worth teaching if everyone in the classroom can't access it. We've got huge number of children with special needs, all kinds of different needs, disabilities and autism and ADHD, and it's the lessons have to be planned in a way where everyone can access it. So, like you said, it's you've got to start with accessibility and then, everybody else.
Yes. And then, anyone can benefit. And even like, kids who might
Hmm.
not have their diagnosis yet, but can benefit from additional support or who
Yeah.
are on what we have IEPs and we have 504 plans. Basically, on a
Hmm.
504 plan, you're just getting accommodations. So, like things like captions or extra time and whatnot. So,
Hmm.
that should be built into everything because even if a kid doesn't need it, it could help them. And if they don't need it, then don't use it. But if you need it, it's there for you instead of thinking of it
Yeah.
as like an additional thing. And that's again, that leads into the last one, business and marketing. I've been running my business. I started it in 2019. I've been running it, I've been post revenue since 2020. I made my first
Amazing.
sale January of 2020. And then, the rest is history, but it has really shaped the way that I see anything I create. I am admittedly, I'm a teacher, I'm a businesswoman as well. I think it's worth noting that I left the classroom, like the actual physical classroom setting. I used to be in the classroom. Um, I taught middle school, sixth through eighth grade deaf for 5 years. And then I did some itinerant work, which is traveling teacher work for a year. And then I went fully virtual. So I still teach and
Wow.
I contract with districts. And I love it so much because the teaching informs my building and my building informs my teaching. And it's like kind of this really cool reciprocal relationship. Um,
Hmm.
and it keeps me in the loop about what's actually going on with education, but I get to work from home, and I get to choose my hours. So if I only want to work 20 hours, I can only work 20 hours. I decide
Yeah,
how much
that's
and
brilliant.
like, yeah. So it's kind of
And you
great.
can run your business on the side as well, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. So my business is my nights and weekends. During the school year, the summer, I've been able to dedicate a lot of time to it. But I'm a business and marketing person too now. I've
Hmm.
had an email marketing list for many, many years. That's actually how I started. I did something called B School back in the day, which is not business school. It's run by an entrepreneur and she teaches you the basics of business and marketing. And
Oh,
yeah, it was really cool. I actually won a scholarship to that back in the day too. And I become very business minded. So whenever I build something, I also ask how can I monetize it? Because as we
yeah.
know, building can get expensive. Um,
Yes.
and so it's not just about the money, it's also about reaching the people who need it, but in a way
Hmm.
that's sustainable. Because if I start giving
Yes.
everything out for free, then I'm not going to be able to keep building. So,
Yeah, that's
it's a
understandable.
balance. And
Hmm.
so yeah, so for me, it's business and marketing. How do I reach my users? How do I, deliver the right message to them? How do I sell? Is also a huge part of what I'm into.
It's really great.
Yeah.
So, where we meet, so we're both educators who became builders. You know our story if you've seen our previous episodes. We're both determined to make solutions for real students. And m most of all, like both building for learners who are historically left out of design conversation. I think both of us as well, you more than me, work on building things that are accessible for all children, especially with your model education. It's focused on deaf children and me in the classroom with all the children with different special needs. We like to build things that are accessible for everyone. So that's where we are, um, have our common things. Um, we also have our differences, which we've talked about and which really help build.
Yeah. I think that we are I mean, it's kind of obvious that we are educators in different landscapes, right? Like, so you are a teacher in the UK. What you deal with as far as laws and governance, we even talked about compliance, right? That's a big thing. If you're
Hmm.
building anything that kids are going to use, how do you make sure it's compliant? How do you make ethical decisions with AI?
Yeah.
All of that is a consideration for both of us. But what's different is we're in different legal contexts, right?
Yeah.
So like what does it look like to start a business? What does it look like to sell? What does it look like to consider data privacy laws and
Hmm.
all of that for the UK versus the US? It's a big difference. Also, like our curriculum, what was
Completely
yours called?
different.
the UK, the
The
national.
UK national curriculum, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
we
like
have
focused on primary school.
yeah, yeah. So we have different, it's based state by state here. Laws tend to
Hmm.
vary state by state. There are a lot of differences that are kind of obvious given our geographic differences as well. And so what's cool
Hmm.
though is that when we talk about it, we get to bring in like I never talk to Noni without learning something new. Like that's just
Yeah,
I
same
probably
here. I think
so
talking to you, learn something new, and then also when we're building together, pick up new skills. So it's really great.
yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. So whenever we're looking at a product together, and we've been building that Time Explorers app, and it is deliberately still kind of rough because we only work on it during our podcast filming. So
Yeah, it's just I think it's just our little side project.
yeah, it's like it's just to show you how we do it. But what's important to know is that, even though we're both teachers, we're looking at it with different angles.
So I like to like think about how it feels, how it looks, how it's used. Is it engaging? Is it calm? I like to look at the that side of it because I really feel like the UI and the UX has got to be something that's the makes a user want to actually use it more. I think they take more in, especially with learners. They learn more when they engage with it.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. And I want to circle back to something about design in a second. But for me, it's just about access is one of the big things. And then I also always
Mm-hmm.
think about like how are we going to monetize this? How are we going to market it? Who is our ideal customer for this? Of course, we're not planning to sell this app that we're creating at this point.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm thinking about the research, the frameworks.
Mm-hmm.
How can we make this animation or this part better? How can we make it not overwhelming for students with special needs or language learners? Should we make it available in different languages? Like what is the way that we increase access for what we've created and
I
who
think
are
about
we
as well
neglecting?
when we started this our little website that we started, the Time Explorers, we started off with a prompt that said that to make it accessible for US and the UK um primary elementary schools. I'm sure it was something like that. That was our
Yeah,
initial
yeah.
prompt. And whatever information was put onto there for history was to do with the US and the UK. So that's again making it accessible
Yeah, yeah.
for
And
both
there's so
regions.
much voiceover, captioning of our animations and our videos. That voiceover piece is huge because for kids who can't
Mm-hmm.
read, it's not just for, when you think blindness and things like that. It is also for kids who struggle to read or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, the situation is. And we can design for that. With Replit, you can really create a fully, a very accessible experience for learning if
Mhm.
you just know how to prompt agent for that. And agent's pretty good
Yeah,
at it. As far as the design thing, I wanted to ask you, Noni, this is, and without going too far onto a tangent, have you ever thought about how colors influence feelings?
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I always think that cooler tones can
What are cooler
feel
tones?
cooler tones are more like your blues and like your greens, those kind of colors. And then you've got your warmer tones, which are more like your reds and your oranges are more warmer colors. They're called
Mhm.
warm tones. They can always play on feelings and emotions. I feel like greens and blues are more like cool and calm, and then red and orange is the more warmer tones can be a bit more happier and exciting, and then it depends on what context as well.
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting thing that I started to notice. And this is, it's just, this might be something you didn't know about me, but I had cataract surgery a couple years ago.
What's
And
cataract surgery?
when your lens gets foggy and you can't see well, like usually older
Oh.
people get that. I was born with
Ah.
them, and I didn't even know that the rest of the world could see so clearly.
Mm.
And I knew I had them, but they got really, really bad to the point where I was having difficulty driving when I was, in my mid 30s. And I went and I got surgery. I got eye surgery for it. And
Oh
then,
wow.
yeah, isn't that crazy? I was then able to see colors like I've never seen them before after my
Oh
surgery. And
wow.
if you want, Google before and
Really?
after cataract. Yeah,
So it fuzzes your color. It fuzzes your colors,
it
or
makes it fuzzy.
you
Yeah, so
can't
I can,
see the
it's just not as
color.
vibrant.
Ah, okay.
It's very fuzzy. And mine were pretty bad. I mean, they're bad enough to get surgery in my 30s. Usually people are able to push it off.
Wow, I can
But
imagine.
Yeah, so the reason I bring this up is because I felt like my whole experience of life was more vivid when I could really access those colors. And
Mm,
it was,
yeah,
yeah, and it made me really conscious of how colors impact the way that you,
emotion.
yes, emotion, exactly. Like
Yes.
a light pink is gonna, if you walk into a room and the walls are bubblegum pink, right? And maybe our listeners
Hmm.
can do this exercise with us. Like close your eyes and imagine you're walking into a room and the walls are bubblegum pink. That is a very different feeling than if you walk into a room and the walls are black.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I think
that's,
as well,
yeah.
people say that if you want to come across, like in an interview, you want to come across like you're like really kind and calm, wear light blue. I don't
Oh,
know why.
I've
But
never
I've
heard.
heard that one quite a few times.
I've heard red as a power color.
Yes, I've heard that one too.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
like I feel like it's a more of a dominant color. Does
Mm,
that make sense?
yeah, no, it's so interesting because I am very intrigued by this. I have not, this is not my area of research, but I know that there is research on it. So anyone who
Yes.
wants to like comment or tell us about it, I would love to hear
You
more.
know, in our classroom, we use, the slides that we use the slide backgrounds to be more pastely and lighter colors, more on the nude side, so that it appeases to um all the children in the classroom, especially the children with special needs. Some children have like sensory issues. If there's a color on top of, it's like too much colors going on, it
Yeah.
can really what's the word, dysregulate them sometimes and not able to concentrate. So there's got to be a contrast, so a lighter background with darker text on top, if that makes sense.
It's amazing that you all are so conscious of that because it's so true that it can be dysregulating. And then another piece of it is also design for learning, right? A universal design for learning is something that people should look into when designing for education. You can also talk to Replit Agent about it or whatever your AI tool is. And there is best practice for design, and one of the biggest things is you want high contrast. So
Hmm.
you don't want someone to have to squint to see your text, right? And you don't want it to be too
But
difficult.
really, so you really focus, work hard on looking at what the text is rather than
Right.
learning what the text is.
I also think that's why teachers are such good builders is because when we're designing for instruction, we are just we're working to reduce friction, right? And
Hmm.
so
And just naturally as well.
yeah, we anticipate that the student's going to have a problem with this because this is a little bit difficult, and we've seen it derail an entire lesson, right? So like,
Hmm.
if you know, you know, and
Hmm.
it's something that just naturally, we train our brains to design in a way that is going to make it easier for users to access because we teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just talked about this actually. The biggest thing here is that we want something that influences your emotions in the way that you want it to influence your emotions. Sometimes it's okay to, if you want to make an app that makes people feel things, you want to feel sad, you can use certain colors or certain designs. And then for me, it's always just about access. How do we make it accessible, but in a way that doesn't look like overly sterile or clinical,
Hmm.
or boring. So
Yeah.
that's where the design component comes in. So we kind of balance each other in that way.
Yeah, you got to make sure that it's something that's engaging and like really nice to look at, but then also you don't want to overload it with, when you're talking about colors. I mean, lots of different colors going on. I recently created an app and there was so much color going on. I was like, yes, this is really nice for kids. However, there's so many different colors going on, they're not going to be able to focus. So you got to really work out that balance, like where it looks good, but then also they're able to engage with it.
Yeah, I think of myself as a guide for attention of my user or my students. So like my I'm guiding them to look in a certain place or to go a certain way through the app. And if you've got all these things like blaring lights all over the place, then I haven't guided their attention anywhere, and
Hmm.
I've just overstimulated
Scattered it
them.
more.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and sometimes you see that. Like how many times have you seen an AI invitation or something where it's like sparkle here,
So
sparkle
much
there,
going on.
and you're like,
Yeah.
where do I look? Like where is the date and time for this party?
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a title and then information, then another picture here and another picture here. It's too much going on.
A lot of times less is more, I think. I'm
Yeah.
curious, how did you decide like your brand colors? What are your brand colors? How did you decide them, font, things like that with your design?
My brand colors is I came up with a panda drawing that just drew one day, and I made sure it was like panda's black and white anyway, but I wanted little pops of color. So it's headphones and it's bamboo stick. If anyone's seen that bamboo panda, will
Yeah, so cute.
probably pop it on somewhere. But it's um focused on keeping it so black and white and then with little pops of color. Just so that it's not, and I don't know how I came up with it. It was just something I enjoy doing, but I know I didn't want it too vivid. So the colors on it is like a coral peach, and then like a green, not too bright in your face kind of green, and then bamboo brain. The logo is like the coral peach and a green, and not too bright. I don't know. I just thought it was something that you you got to see visually, like be able to see it, but then also not focusing too much on all the details on it. You can just see them, if that makes sense.
That does. Yeah, no, I think that's really great. And that's such a good point. It's similar to fashion, right? You'll talk about, if someone's wearing something that's monotone or whatnot, they'll have a pop of color.
Mm-hmm.
It's visually appealing, to it feels good to the eye to see that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, it could, and
Yeah.
people could come up with a logo with like so many different colors going on, but you've got to make sure that it's not something that's too busy.
Yeah, it's important to know, what is your brand identity? What are the colors that stick out? What are, what also how do the colors that you choose make your users feel? Is that how you want them to?
And what about your logo? I mean, yours is a hand, right?
Yeah, and your hand looks purple too. It's
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
purple
purple
hand.
hand.
Yeah. So it was actually so funny because I started my business so early and I don't think I think I learned a lot as I went. And the hand, I'm not married to the hand. Like I feel like it could change.
But I feel like it goes well because it's like you use your hands to do sign language.
Yeah,
So,
that was exactly the thinking. So modal, the name modal is for multimodal. And what people say, so when you're talking about people who use a lot of different languages, we say multilingual, right? But
mm-hmm,
for sign language, you're not using your tongue. Lingual is from
mm-hmm.
your tongue. So we say multimodal, as in you're using multiple modalities because sign is a modality of communication, right? It's a different mode. So that's where modal comes from. And so the hand felt natural for that. I chose the purple because the purple is really associated with learning and academics.
Mm,
It, again, so much of it is feeling too. Like I felt that the feeling, like that deep purple, I think that's what I want it to be. I used to have like, it was like an aqua shadow with it. It's kind of fallen away with time. And then for each of my apps, I have a rendition of that look. So like,
that's very cool.
modal literacy is the hand
And
over.
then they all like they're all purple. They all have that purple.
They have that purple in them, but they're not only that purple necessarily. There's
Okay.
one
I
for
don't
the
know. I feel like purple's always been my favorite color as well, hence the purple light. But I feel like purple has this like deep comfort kind of feeling.
Yeah, it's comforting and it's interesting because I definitely, and again I would love to hear from the listeners, how does purple make you feel? How do colors impact things? But
Mm-hmm.
it's something to think about, right? Like when you're designing these things, you're giving an emotional experience. And there's a quote that I always hear that people don't remember what you said sometimes, but they remember how you made them feel. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
really important that, your app should give a feeling. Actually, Ruth's app last week when we interviewed Ruth and she showed us her app where she had the little hedgehogs.
Oh yeah, that was
Did you
really
have an
nice.
emotional reaction to that
Oh,
also?
absolutely. It was like it was the colors and the setting and the whole feel of it, the music. I think that all comes together to give you really nice emotion. It was really cute.
It was so cute. Like I had an emotional experience. Even her ghost hunting app. I had an
Yes.
experience with the Puck Man that she created, like all those different things, she and Andrew. I just am so amazed at the feelings, the emotional experiences that you can
Mm-hmm.
create. Just like
Yeah.
directors create emotional experiences for movies, right? We're creating movies,
Mm-hmm.
create apps or any content that we're putting out into the world.
Yeah, so sound really helps with that as
Oh
well.
yeah, that's a
And
good
yeah,
point.
it would be nice to know what people think about different colors and what emotions they're associated with. In the classroom, we have emotion charts for the children. I don't know if you've ever done it, but
Yeah.
we have emotion charts where there's a red zone where they feel angry and upset, and then we've got the blue zone where they feel was it calm? No, yellow's where they feel calm, and then green is where they feel sick or tired. So we have those color charts like about specific emotions, but I wonder how everyone else feels about that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's we had stuff like that. We had the smiley faces. Even as a parent, I with my daughter have a curriculum that I use where we go through different spots of feelings. It's like a very popular series now, and she'll say to me, she communicates about, how she feels. Say, "Mama, I'm in my happy spot right now," which is
Hmm.
associated with, I think it's green, and then there's the sad spot, which is blue, and there's and so she will, but when she was 3 years old, like that's how she learned to talk about feelings, and still to this day is using that kind of language. And we even use it in our household. Like me and my husband will say, "Oh, I'm in my scribble spot right now
Hmm.
because something happened at work or whatever it is." So I think being emotionally aware and in tune with your users is people don't talk about it enough, or I
Yeah.
haven't seen too much on it.
Okay, so why don't we put our skills to use?
Yeah.
Your research skills and my design skills, and let's build a little bit more on our website,
Let's
our
do
little time explorers
it. Okay.
thingy that we've started.
Yes, I'm
Do you
going
want to share your screen?
my screen in one moment here. And so it's important, obviously, we started with some design already. A lot of this is stuff that Replit gave us. All right, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a lot of it is stuff that Replit gave us. This is what we currently have. Um, just so everyone can see what we're starting with. And do we just have this
Yes.
dark mode? Is that the only thing we have?
Yeah, we do, and I was thinking about changing it so we can have a light mode too. And I'm not a super big fan of the background, so we can work on some of that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the font? I think I said last time that I do like the font, but now I'm starting to kind of not like it.
I don't like the font. I think
You
because I'm
don't?
so into universal design for learning and I just want to get rid of
Yeah.
any barrier and make it as like clean as possible. So I don't like the
Mm-hmm.
extra little like things that they like the rounded. I mean, this is still pretty clean. It's just it's
It
not
is
my
it's clean. It's not too cluttery, but I just feel like yeah, it doesn't look. I feel like we can make some tweaks to it.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've got we already put in some accessibility settings here. So we have
Mm-hmm.
the read aloud that you can turn on and off. We have this text size. I will tell you, when I had my cataract, I was reading with extra large text. I
Wow.
had to, yeah, after the surgery, I had to go back and make everything normal size. And if
So it
you
was only colors fuzzy for you, but everything was fuzzy.
everything was fuzzy.
Oh my
It was
God.
really bad. It was hard to
Can't
drive, night
imagine.
driving, yeah, all that. So that extra large, if you're someone who needs accessibility settings, you understand that it's debilitating to not have them. So we have this here, and then reduced motion also helps with turning off animations if they make people feel dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what it currently looks like. Even this, I don't know how you feel about our logo. There's a whole
I'm
lot of
not too
stuff.
bothered about the logo.
Okay. There's
I
a
think I
whole
don't like that yellow color in the title. I think we did change it. I'm
Okay.
still not feeling it. I don't know. Maybe we
So
can leave that one for now.
here's what we'll do. We will open up agents. Okay,
Yes.
this is what we did. We have Time Explorers.replit app, and then we have the Time
Yep.
Explorers classroom code. That's the last thing we did on here. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we did the animations, correct? All right. So,
Okay, yeah, we did the subdomains. Yeah, just remember that.
okay, and these were the animations, and this is what I was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So do you want to start with design or should we start with accessibility?
Should we do some accessibility whilst I think about design? Because I'm not sure about this one just yet.
So with accessibility, one of the big things is universal design for learning. There are other standards, but I think it's really important um, that we consider UDL, as it's called, when building
Mm-hmm.
for education. So um, I want to make this app in line with UDL. I'm sure Agent knows universal design. And I'm going to go ahead and do it in plan
Do you want
because
to explain a little bit what UDL means?
so UDL, and I kind of want to see what it says first before I explain it, because I have a
Okay.
feeling it's going to give me a good explanation. But basically, it's how do we design for the margins? What are some
Mm-hmm.
guidelines for how to make things accessible for learning? Um, I'm going to make it create a plan. I want to make this app in line with UDL, create a plan for what we should change. And I clicked plan. And I don't know. I think we did start on plan mode with this app, but we haven't used plan mode in some time.
Hmm.
So let's see what it gives us. UDL integration strategy. I love, do you read what it says?
I do. I like to learn.
Yeah.
Um, I like to learn all the time. So I like to especially with building, I like to see what the agent is doing, what kind of tasks, what kind of things doing.
So here it
And you
mentions,
know, if it mentions like a tricky terminology that we don't know, I'll go and do my research on what it means. Or actually ask, can you explain that? I don't know what it means.
yeah, that's really smart. So it says identified numerous UDL features in Time Explorer. So we had already done some of this. So read
Mm-hmm.
aloud, text size control, keyboard navigation,
Mm-hmm.
reduce motion, captions, progress indicators, enhancing accessibility and user choice. Again, I created my instructions for every single app that I create to have accessibility built in. So some of this is already in there just because that's my default for everything I create. Um,
Yeah.
Let me wait for the background exploration task to complete and then
And
quiz.
skills and instructions is something that we covered in a different podcast as well. So if
Yeah, that's
you're not
great.
sure what she's talking about, go and have a look at that.
Okay, so here, and I knew it was going to give me a good explanation. So the UDL framework, three principles, multiple means of representation, so providing information in multiple formats, multiple
Mm-hmm.
means of action and expression, allowing different ways to demonstrate knowledge, and multiple means of engagement, motivating and challenging learners. So there's
Mm-hmm.
already a whole lot of stuff that we have in here. We've got the read aloud, we've got the text size control, motion, the reducing motion, keyboard navigation, all that stuff that you see there. The alt text that's important for screen readers, um,
Yep.
non-color dependent cues and quizzes,
We've
video
got most of
captions.
this.
So here it identified the gaps. Researchers love seeing identifying the gaps. And so it's a big thing for business, it's a big thing for building too. There's no
Yes.
glossary or vocabulary. Um, Key concepts aren't highlighted or signaled. No visual summary, no simplified language option for readers who need it. Image descriptions are limited to alt text. Fuller captions beneath illustrations would help. Video has captions, but lessons lack a transcript view. So a lot of times you'd want to put a transcript in. No language or reading level adjustments available. So these are actions that, can be fixed that are currently non-UDL compliant.
Mm-hmm. I think
And
what did it say earlier? If you just scroll back up, where was it? Oh, no glossary and vocabulary. See, that's going back to what we were saying before about how people know have the knowledge, but then they don't explain the key vocabulary. It's so important in when you're teaching children. We sometimes pre-teach vocabulary before we
yeah,
teach a lesson. So
that's a big part
that's a
of teachers.
really important one.
Yeah, yeah, it's very important to have something that, the students can refer to. Key concepts aren't highlighted or signaled in the text. Video has captions, okay, but it doesn't have transcript. We already said that. No language, okay. Quiz responses are limited to multiple choice. Okay, so again, now it's looking at the second principle, which is multiple means of action and expression. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're just multiple choice. We want drawing, labeling, writing, open-ended answers, limited ways to
Yes.
demonstrate understanding. I would like for people to be able to also do voice dictation as well. Limited ways to
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate understanding. You can't retake your quizzes, all that. Okay. Multiple means of engagement. No choice within lessons about order. Okay. So
I like
scaffolding.
the different quizzes kind of things because then that's different ways that they're able to retain the knowledge.
Yes. So look at how good Agent is though, because I gave it such a minimal prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's broken it all down for you.
yeah, good picture of what exists. The app has solid, and then it proposed three tasks: simplified language mode or lesson recap web app, vocabulary glossary and image captions, and then quiz hints and lesson pacing. So I'm gonna go ahead and build those in the background.
Okay. And do you always like to use like multiple do set agent off in multiple tasks? So that's using parallel agents where you do different tasks
It
at a
depends.
time.
So I think that it's important to consider the order in which you are doing tasks as well because they can
Mm-hmm.
interfere with each other potentially. But for this, the reason I did the set in the background was for efficiency, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
just do it all at once because we're going to talk about design. We don't want to spend all day with you all on the podcast. Let's, get a couple design things in as well. And it really, again, it depends on the complexity and how much I want to kind of manage. As far as this UDL piece, I liked its plan. I trusted. I could also
Hmm.
look into, the individual task plans, but I do trust what it will create at this
Yeah.
point, given what it said initially. Let's see.
Yeah, I think that's why it's great to do plan mode first because then it breaks it down for you and then you can like set it off. Sometimes it depends on what you're working on. You might want to, some people like to build out one task, see what it comes up with, and then build out another task. But sometimes if they're separate things, they work better if you've got parallel agents working at them all at once. And then it just applies it later to the main page, the
Mhm.
main task. Yeah, main
Yeah,
task.
that's a good point. Yeah. So, well, it's good to know and to be deliberate about the order with which you're doing things when it comes to the parallel agents, but this is extremely powerful for efficiency. Like you can go so fast. And then I love the suggested
Mhm.
tasks. A lot of times I'll, decide not to do it.
Mhm.
And other times I will decide, okay, yeah, let's do it. But of course,
Yeah.
everything uses the
Sometimes it suggests some really good ones that you didn't think of, but then sometimes it's like just you don't it's just not really relevant. With the UI, how do you think about what do you think about making it? I think when we started it off, it was a lighter background, and then we said to make it darker, but now I feel like we should make it a lighter background again. I don't know. I'm not liking the dark.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for kids especially, I feel like
I
my
think
students fall
I
asleep.
feel like it's dark on dark. You know the cards on there, the little cards on each page. They're dark and then the background is dark. I feel like it just doesn't work.
Okay, do you want to just change the background or do you want to make an
You know what you can do? Here's something that I tried
uh-huh.
today. This is really cool. You can ask it on Canvas to give you some. I saw someone do this actually, and then I tried it on my. You know that game I've been making recently with the room, and you
Hmm.
can design your room. Um, I tried it with that, and I asked Agent, "Can you create me different UI options for the homepage?" And then on Canvas, it created me three different layouts and colors schemes. Um, and then I chose from there which one I liked the most. Let's see if I can. Maybe I'll share it with you somewhere. But it was really cool how it laid out three different, my homepage in three different UIs. It was really cool.
Okay, well, I just did it here too. So I said, can you create me can you
On
create different?
Canvas. Maybe you should
Yeah.
add. Okay, maybe you'll
It
know.
already, no, it did pop up and said Canvas.
Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant.
it knew it. So it said the user wants different UI options for the homepage of Time Explorers. This is a perfect use case for the Canvas mockup sandbox skill. So it knew.
Hmm.
Extremely smart. I should
Smart.
suggest Canvas exploration. So I approve that. Let me use
You
this.
know how you just going back onto what Canvas said. You know how you a while ago we were talking about how we want things on Canvas to be drag and drop. You can do that. I did that the other day. You can ask Agent to do that, and it builds. You know, like I've got the region editor that
Yeah.
we had to play around with, but you can also ask it to do a drag and drop. So if you just ask it, and then it'll create it in Canvas, and you can literally drag and drop different things around on your. It's really cool.
Oh my
It's like it
goodness.
could do everything. We just need to know how
We just have to
to.
ask it.
Yeah, just ask it.
You just have to ask.
I feel like there's nothing that it can't do.
Yeah, I mean,
Even when we're like, we need this, but then it does it.
it's crazy. So it says building iframes are placed. Now I'll create the mockup folder and start three design subagents in parallel. Yeah, I really don't like this homepage.
Yeah, it's like dark and dark, and then the yellow. I'm not loving it.
Yeah. Oops.
Are you able to, on the right side,
Oh, you want me to
just
close this?
close that so it can see?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
I really don't like our logo. Is it just me?
I'm not bothered. I'm not too bothered about the logo. We can change it though. I don't like, these little emojis. You know what I do? Like I like that little badge down there. I like the badge, the
These
way
are
that it
cute.
creates it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
then
makes
why
it
is
more
that up here?
that's more entertaining for children rather than a little emoji picture. Oh,
Yeah, I
drop my mic.
agree. Oh, yeah. Let's see. So, okay. Why is it cut off there? Let's see.
Yeah, that's something we can tell.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's use Canvas for this.
Oops.
So if you just go to, if you click on Canvas,
Okay. And these are
and
the
then,
design mock-ups it's working on.
oh, it's making it right now. So if you click on zoom into our main page,
How do I do this? Do I just click it?
yeah, just zoom. No, don't preview, because that'll take you back. Okay, here. Now at the bottom you can see the little square with the dotted square, the selection tool, where it says edit on your little bar at the bottom.
Yes, I see.
Okay, so if you click that and then you go to the, you know, the word that's cut off
Yeah.
here. Yeah, click on this. And then you could type in the box above it, not on there, above the little two bar at the bottom. I'm not good at explaining this. The two bar at the
Oh, this.
bottom.
This
Come back.
is.
Yeah. You can just type in that it's the Y is cut off at the bottom. Can you create more space for it, or it's like just basic language. You don't need to be technical at all. Or reduce the text size.
Sorry, it's lagging on my side. I still
This is what I
feel
like about Canvas. You can pick on little different things and then edit them.
I'm not as good with Canvas. I feel like I'm still understanding it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm because we're used to using the older age. I don't know about you, but the older model where I'm just used to telling agents to do everything.
Yeah.
I forget to use Canvas, but I'm getting used to it.
So our vocabulary, glossary, and image caption task is ready for review. I also see different mock-ups here in Canvas, but let's check on this one. So this says ready for review. What was done, implemented UDL, aligned vocabulary, scaffolding. Um, let's see. If I click apply to main, would it interrupt what main is currently doing?
No,
Okay, so I'm gonna go
no, it
ahead.
doesn't. It'll line it up to um, complete it after it's
Okay.
doing whatever it's doing. It
Okay.
queues it up.
So, and this is done the quiz hints and lesson pacing control. Added hints during the quiz question. And usually, for the apps that I'm planning on using as part of my business, I will be a lot more, I'll check a lot more carefully, line by line,
Yeah.
what it's done. But for the purpose of this, I think that's fine. I want to draw attention to this one feature that I noticed, I think yesterday. They brought the task board up here. So if you're running parallel agents,
Yes.
this made me so happy that I even tweeted about it. I was like,
Yeah.
that somebody read my mind because you used to have to go down here or somewhere and find, the task board.
Mm-hmm.
Someone, I don't know. I don't, part of me thinks like agent is doing this themselves. Like, I don't know. Um, but they brought the task board up here, which is
Yes, I love that.
oh my gosh, because I need to see everything in one place. And
Yeah. Because then sometimes as well, you've got parallel agents, you kind of lose track of what you're supposed to
100%,
be doing, what results you're expecting. That's what happens with me. I
yeah,
set it off the parallel agents on so many, and by the way, you have parallel agents on the pro account, right? You
I'm not
don't
sure.
have them on. I'm pretty sure it's a. I don't. You don't think you get parallel agents on the pro core one. On the pro account, you get parallel agents, so about up to 10 parallel agents. You can set them off on 10 different tasks. And yeah, and then I just lose track of what I'm doing. So this is really good for that.
Okay. Are we really just 8 prompts deep in this? Or tasks, not prompts, tasks.
Tasks. Yeah.
10 is our simplified language. That's crazy, our options. Oh,
Ooh. I like how they're three completely different.
yeah. Okay, so
Mhm. You can, I'm pretty sure you can preview each one. So if you look at the top, it's got a little play sign. Yeah, preview, there you go.
okay, and it says modal education again because of my what's it
The
called?
instructions, yeah.
My instructions. Yeah, so it automatically put that in. I like
So
this. This gives me an
it's
input.
been set that every app you create has model instructions written
Yeah, yeah, and then I
somewhere.
delete it if I need to if it's not for that. But okay,
This
this
is still the same. I'm not feeling
is
this one because it's still the
dark.
same. dark on dark, and then that yellow.
Yeah. This, I feel like this looks like bamboo, like
Yeah,
your,
I
like it's
like it
different, but
that it's got the colors, but I don't like it that it's used emojis, so we could change that.
we can always, yeah, we can adjust that. So that's cool. I like this.
Hmm.
I don't like this one.
No, it feels like you know what it feels like? It doesn't feel like a history was. It feels like an Islamic website, if that makes sense. I've seen a
100%.
lot that look like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the green and gold. You're 100%
Yeah.
right. That's not where we're going with this one. So let's, do you want to do this one? And then
Yeah,
we
but I still
can,
want to change it.
what I would want to do is, so you see these like icons, is I would want them to turn into like AI images that follow our
Yes.
3D cartoon style, but for each of those.
Yeah. Not the I don't like these vector
Yes.
images that it uses.
Yeah, no. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and what do I do? Do I just since we said this is option B, do we say build
Um
or do I talk to agent?
I told agent that I liked option B in my well, whatever option, I can't remember what was, I think mine was option C that I liked. I said I like option C. Can you apply this to my main build?
Okay. I want to choose option B instead of those vectors. You images use 3D animation style images for each time period. Um, and apply to my main build. Worth noting that we're doing all this on economy. That was
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I
Oh
learned
yeah,
something
yeah.
new.
I wonder what it would be like on power then. Because power and then high power as well. Is it high power?
High effort.
High effort, that's it, high effort. So on power and then high effort, I wonder what it would do then, but
So
let's not
I,
experiment
after the
now.
build-a-thon one, started using power and then high effort, and then I was burning through my tokens, and so then I changed
Mm,
that. Actually, Ruth told me to change it. She was like, "Yeah," because she also, was thinking, "Oh, I have so many that I can use," and then it goes, it's important to be wise,
yep.
ration them.
Yes.
So great choice.
And you
Uh,
can always change, make little tweaks. I don't think it still wouldn't cost you as much.
mhm. I think it's also worth noticing or noting the rollbacks that you have here. Is it this that we click? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if
History.
you want to roll back to, and I think there was just, was it an office hours or um a
It
stream
was a
about it?
live build, I think, a live
Yeah.
stream.
So you can go back and see all these different versions as
Mm-hmm.
well, which is
And if
really
you're not
cool.
happy with what you've built, you can always roll back to,
Yeah.
but then undo everything that you've done since.
Yeah. So be careful with that. I've never rolled back. Have
And
you?
you also don't get your credit back, so don't think that you
No,
do.
you can't return your credits. It probably costs credits to do it, right? I'm assuming.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't
Probably.
know.
I barely roll back. Do you have you rolled back a lot?
I've never rolled back.
I won't roll back. I'll make some tweaks and stuff, but I won't roll back.
I was
I
gonna
feel like
say I'm a no regrets kind of person.
yeah, yeah, that's it. Gone in
No, but
head
it's
first.
good to have that option. It's if you do have regrets, it is great to have that option. Sometimes I actually used to use another vibe coding platform that did have a rollback option, and with that, I would roll back all the time because it would make
Mm,
mistakes constantly, and it would make me
yeah.
really upset. And then I'd roll back and be like, "No, redo this," So, and that was a different way of burning through my credits. But
I've not really tried any other app building programs, but I feel like Replit before it did because it was on Agents 3 when I started, but now it barely makes any mistakes or it barely builds something that I really, really hate.
yeah, it asks
Because it takes
questions.
on what yeah, it asks questions. It takes on what you say and it asks you questions before it builds it out as well, especially if you're on plan mode. And also in plan mode, it gives you options.
Hmm.
Um, once you've given it a prompt, it might give you some options about what you want specifically, which I find really cool.
Yeah. It's really awesome. It's cool because even in the time that neither one of us has been there. Ooh, sorry, I got
Oh,
distracted.
it did it really nice. So that's so much more better.
Oh my gosh. And the feeling, right? So like if we look
Okay,
at
click
our,
click on preview. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. The feeling of it, so good. See, I
so
like this
all,
one.
oh, this is, There you go. So, oh yes,
Mm,
this is perfect, I think.
I
What do you
really
think?
like that. Way better.
And we
It
can
had a
add other
glow up.
eras. Yeah, totally. It's a makeover for her app.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
change
like
the
it.
font. I really don't like this font.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't like the font, and I also don't like how at the top is like very cluttery.
yeah, let's
The journey, study hall, that my collection settings and all that. I feel like
oh, I have
maybe
an
maybe about could go in. Maybe about could go like I don't know. It could go
okay.
into a different tab.
I have an idea. What if we and can we make it more segmented like a carousel of eras? Like what do you think if it's like kind of a rolling carousel?
Yes.
Uh,
Can we do that?
yeah, yeah,
You
we can.
know, have you seen those websites where you keep scrolling and it'll like change or become more immersive? Have you seen those websites? It's so cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to prompt it for that, but let's try the carousel first.
Let's not get too deep right now.
Yeah, well, then we can upgrade. Let's change the font and I want to make it I don't know what the word would be. Less
You know what?
childish.
Before you do this, can you just make this like just a website? You know where you
Hmm.
expand it. You know, that little
Yeah,
icon at the top. Let's
just
just
the website.
look at it full. There you go. I like it. And I still don't like that orangey yellow color, but maybe it could be a bit more paler.
Okay, so tell me what to tell it. I said, let's change the font and make it less childish, reduce clutter. Can we make it more segmented, like a carousel of the different eras?
Okay, let's stick with that for now. Let's not give it too much just yet.
I honestly did not like the look of the app before.
Maybe
I like it.
carousel of the different eras. Yeah.
I love carousels, like the actual ride,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
kind of embarrassing. It'll be me and a bunch of kids, but luckily when you're
Yeah,
a parent,
no, I'll be there
I'll be
too.
like, yeah, I'll be like, I'm here for the kid, and I'm having more fun with them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love carousels on websites. I actually had carousels on almost all my landing pages because I think it's such a great
Nice.
interactive modern feel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's going ahead and doing the carousel now. Should we run some of these suggested tasks as well in the background? We can do that.
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right. So this is the read question button. I think yes.
Yeah,
Since
definitely.
hints, hear it again,
Confirm
copy.
hints. Here again. Yeah.
Prevent children from losing their place.
There's a bit of lag. I'm seeing this late.
Oh, okay.
Losing place if they close the lesson. Prevent
Yeah.
children from losing their place. I mean, there's
I
not
mean,
much.
so I think they're gonna put it in what is it called a cache?
Sure.
Yeah. You know
Cash.
the thing that stores it in your browser.
The thing. The
I,
thing.
can you tell we're non-technical? I yeah, I think that's how it would do it. I'm not sure, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's do it. Because what if they're doing it on like their iPad or at home? And then
Mm.
oh, I don't like this font either.
No, definitely not. It's too it's like very formal. Like I don't
Yeah,
like it
it's
at all.
the kind of, I said don't make it childish. That was probably my mistake because it made it like very, very adult. This is
Yeah.
not the kind of, oh, what? Did you see that change?
Carousel? Oh, it's a carousel where you have to.
Okay. And we just have to tell it to auto scroll the carousel. So I'm going to say
Yeah,
auto,
I'll just go like on rotation.
yeah, the carousel on repeat and pause on hover. So like if somebody goes over it, it
Yes.
pauses.
Okay. But it needs to be like the one main one and then the two faded in the back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when it rotates, it shows the main one highlighted in the middle. See if it understands what we mean.
Where I
It
said it.
usually does. It usually does. It usually gets my vision.
Yeah. Let's see what it says.
I like how it made all those different images for they're not too, I feel like I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like um they used to be very like AI look kind of. It's not too do you know what I mean? Like there's a
Yeah.
basic look that all AI images have, but these ones like kind of don't look like that.
Yeah. I like this. This is really cute.
That's like a
Oh,
nice animation. It doesn't always AI generated.
created. Do you see this auto scrolling carousel and it's kind of showing based on what you
Can you
said?
make us can you make screen bigger again? Because I can't really see that very well. I feel like it's too close to the header at the top.
Okay, yeah. Oh, this is one of my favorite things to do. I'm gonna say right now the carousel is too close to the header at the top. I want the rotation to be more smooth. Please do this
Circular motion.
smooth and circular. Um, please do this like a professional. You just tell it what to be, you know.
Do it as a professional UX designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And please be a professional.
Oh, and that little just popped up that link about 20 credits, was it? 20
Yeah,
20
yeah.
credits? Yeah, there you go. Earn $20 in credits when you use our affiliate links will be down in the description.
Oh, yes, good point. Use our referral codes. It's a good way to get started. Or, no, this isn't. This is what we have now, I think.
Yeah, that's what we have now.
These images are cute. I feel like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah,
Do you think
it's cute.
I don't want to do too much right now, but I'm curious if we wanted to animate this, could we make this a little animated?
That would be so cool.
Should we do it?
I think it will. I think it will. Maybe tell it to do one and see how it looks like.
Okay.
It
Oh,
wasn't.
I think that might confuse it though, because it might get rid of our carousel.
So you can say keep the carousel, but go back to option B,
Okay.
um, color and theme. Bit too bright now.
Also, space the lines better, and I'm just gonna go crazy right now. Animate the images on the carousel for some motion. Too much? Am I asking too much?
Mm, no, you never ask too much with
Thank you.
agent. We're allowed to ask agent as much as we want.
Okay, so
We're
this is
paying him.
that's true. That's true. That's true. I just worry about overwhelming him. Zoom, um, improve text.
Let's put that title back there.
Oh yeah, and it's got the colors.
Yeah, but what's with the white background? It wasn't white before.
It's
Probably
just
still working on it.
it's still working. I it want it I want it to be more than just Ken Burns motion. I want it to I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. To be motion within picture.
Maybe just do one for now.
Well, you said it's never too much.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The
I'm
creative.
sure we won't overwhelm it.
Yeah, so right now what it has is it just has a Ken Burns motion. I'm pushing it. It's gonna be like, you're on economy. Can you
So you
please?
say Ken Burns motion, but do you want to explain that a little bit?
Oh yeah, that's just the way it kind of zooms, like that slow zoom. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what it did, which I think is kind of a lazy response to what I asked it to do. So I'm telling it, I want people moving, I want waves and the wind blowing.
Mm. So still, it's not really fix that white background. Can you see the logo moving up and down? Or is it just my eyes?
No, it is moving. Yeah, how tired are you?
Very tired. It's like 12 a.m. here.
Oh my goodness.
Dead.
I get so when I see the green, I just want to hit apply changes right away. But
Yes,
will
it
it
does.
pause it?
Will it what? Sorry,
Will it pause what it's doing right now?
not usually.
I'm scared. I just want to get these animations. I want to see who's right. I want to see if you got it right or if I got it right.
I think you might be right. Let's hope you're right because then that means we'll have to roll back.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way it was explaining it, it sounded like it's going to replace each card with just like an animation, but I hope not. With a simple animation. You wanted the image that's there right now, but with motion, right?
Yeah, but let's see. I think what it's going to do is it's going to add an overlay. Yeah, on top of it where it the
Ah.
illusion of motion.
Oh, yeah. So look, if you look at the plan, that it's just.
Well, you can kind of see it. Look, you see, put like those little grasses moving and like
Oh,
emperor the
yeah, it
cloud.
has done it. That's great. The leaves were moving on that, I think. Or that's just my eyes.
I don't know.
Are we imagining it?
Yeah, it's getting too late, I think. But yeah, no, I mean, it did it for me. We don't have to roll back. I'm gonna go ahead and apply the changes. But I think as far as today's
I think I
conversation,
do see motion in the videos actually.
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's just that it's very
Subtle.
yeah. Yes, you can see it there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good that it's not replaced it with like an animation, like a
Yeah.
basic animation.
Yeah. No, that's good. I see. I believed in you, agent. Well, as far as today goes, I think we made some really, really awesome changes to the app that we've been working on. Like we brought in a ton of accessibility stuff. We talked about universal design for learning. We completely changed the look and feel with Noni's expertise in design. There's a
Love the carousel thing that we've added in.
Yeah, it's looking good. I didn't like it initially at all. So I'm
Yeah.
happy that we could share it with you. If you guys have ideas for us on things we should do with our app or other things that you want to see, please drop it in comments. If you're on YouTube, message us on X. My handle is NIFTEK. What?
And my handle is Noni NONI and then underscore SHEHNOOR, which is my actual name. Also in the comments, add in what we talked about earlier was the colors. What emotions and what colors do you think are connected? Don't forget about
Yeah.
that one.
That's a really interesting point. I want to hear what the community thinks about that. I am so excited about this episode. We've got some really exciting other guests who are coming on
Yep,
for us soon. And so
very
please stay
exciting.
tuned every Teacher Tuesday, and we'll see you at Classroom to Code.
Thanks for watching.
All right, bye.